So it feels like, yeah, I don't know if we are online. The stream says still connecting. Yeah, okay. Can hear myself though. Awesome. So I think it's online on Twitch and it's online on YouTube. So okay, let's start then. Now, well, where we left it before, we had our grid and our 3 different floors and whatever. So now we're going to do the change from having the isometric perspective we have over here to the, well, we're going to make it a little bit more, you know, this generation, or well, a little, to make it look a little bit better. So instead of going with the isometric look, I'm going to go with semi oblique. So we're going to move either on 35, or I guess we could even try 25 degrees angle of camera. Okay, of course, depending on your type of game, you might want to change this and have a difference. Now, because this is an actual 3D world and not a 2D world, that means we can still keep our script entirely the same. We don't really have to change anything. All I'm going to have to change is the rotation of the camera. Okay, so I'm going to make this 25 and just bring back down my camera, maybe about that. We can fix this later, so I don't really care. Okay, so there's one thing I will want to do, however, and that is going to zoom in at 100% on the scale, and I'm just going to take a picture. Hopefully this doesn't break the stream. And I'm going to go into, actually, you know what, instead of taking a picture of everything, let's just close pretty much all of them. Because we only need one node, and that will form the base for creating maybe our assets later. Okay, because now we have our perspective and how we want the game to look, and let's try and take a picture here. Obviously this is just for reference, nothing else, so I'm just going to take a picture and I'm going to open up Photoshop, create new from clipboard. Okay, and let's paste this here. So we can take this, well, not exactly this, but we can create a new document. So how we are on the chat, feel free to ask questions or anything you want. Okay, and I'll get to them when we can. See, we have Midhaven. Let me find how we can make people mods here. Well, if anyone knows how to make mods, do let me know in the chat, I mean. So well, instead of the clipboard, let's find okay, well, we're going to go for a little bit of pixelated look, not fully, and we can of course always change it in the future, so I don't really worry that much. So let's maybe give it about 20 and 30 pixels wide. Okay, and as you see, that will be a little bit kind of small. Now from here we can enable we had, yeah, the grid. Yeah, let me remember how to do this. Yeah, okay. Okay, I think maybe we can work with this. let's find 1 pixel brush, and no, that's not what we want. This kind of ruins this because we won't have flow at 100%, I think. Yeah, okay, it still has bleeding edges. Anyway, I will find it in a bit. So let's take this and let's come in here and paste this and try to find it. As you can see, it's pretty huge for our purposes. So we're going to scale it down. Just keep in mind not to break the perspective. Now we're going to do okay, let's try mode. Did it work? Now we are going to do a little bit of programming, well, a lot of programming. I just want to start creating this base because we are going to start doing things. And we of course need to create assets. Now, as you can see, we have 2 and 2. Maybe we need to add a little bit more, 1 pixel. And that's not going to work exactly as we want to. Okay, and now we can move it in the center. Okay, let's start clearing this up. And let's do magic wand. Okay, now let's add a color so that we can tell what's a pixel, what's not. Okay, so the dirtiest way to do this and the fastest, so that's what we're going to do. It's just for us to have something inside our scene, not really for anything else. Let's find yeah, as you can tell, I don't really use Photoshop that much, just for the basic things. We're just going to make a line from here to there, but we can, I think, yeah, you know what, let's use something else because I can't really bother with Photoshop today. So luckily I have a Sprite, and let's create a new file. Let's make this as 30. No, let's go about 15 and height of 30. Yes, anti-aliasing is kind of a bummer. Well, my game is not really like Space Haven 3D, so we're not. And actually, I think because it's easier to create the sprites rather than making them 3D, that's what I'm doing. But the logic, for the most part, is going to work the same actually. So, you know, you can use that if you want. Okay, we have clipboard in here, which means we can just go onto Photoshop, select all this, which is pretty much empty, and then come down here and paste this down here. So as you can see, the edges are clipped for whatever reason. So let's find a way to actually make this bigger. Edit, let's say insert text. Yeah, if anyone knows how to do this, that would be lovely. Oh, yeah, okay, let's make a new one. Screw this. Let's go 30 by 30. Okay. Then let's move this down. Now, the important thing to remember is how many pixels you are from the bottom, because we're going to use as a pivot the bottom. Okay, so that's for our sprites, because we usually have walls going upwards. So I'm just going to leave this there, and I'm going to create not a new frame. I want to create a new layer. Okay, and on top of this layer we're going to start, drawing some lines basically. So I'm just going to go through here, through here, through here, and through here, and yeah, okay, maybe we can remove this too. Anyway, you get the idea. Not really going to worry about making this look pretty, obviously. We just want something to work on. So I'm going to make this a slight gray. Let's do paint bucket. Should be somewhere around here. Okay, so this will be a ground. I'm going to add new as a frame, but of course it's not going to be a frame. And I'm going to make some walls now, which means we can take the line, let's set it to black, and I'm going to raise walls depending on how high up you want to make this. It's entirely up to you. Technically that should be, let me see, how do we find perspective? Okay, that should be something around something like this, I guess. And let's add a different color, just to know. Actually, I guess we could make this as well. So on the first frame we're going to set that. Let's do that, and let's maybe add something like this. Okay, then I'm going to create a new frame which is going to have this split now. Actually it's going to be mirrored, so let's do flip horizontal. Perfect. And I'm going to change the shading to something slightly darker. Okay, so then I'm going to add the final one, which is going to be a corner. Okay, and I'm going to take this one. I'm just going to paste it on top of it, and we do have some slight offset, as you see. So we kind of need to clear this up. Yeah, okay, I don't know what to do about that. So, okay, if you have any questions, feel free to ask on the chat. So, okay, so we have our walls. Well, technically everything should be moved one pixel in, I guess. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so let's put the mark, this line. Okay, so technically that should be correct. We're going to have some problems there, but it's okay. So here's the thing now, because this is for making animations, I can export this. Well, okay, it's not just for making animation. I can just export this into a sprite sheet, and let's see where can we do this. Let me find it, and yeah, I don't know where that's going to land. So let's go back. Let's see. Okay, let's do assets, grips, and let's create a new folder in here, art, and let's do base sprites. Okay, export that. Am I going to separate data and visual layer? Depends what you mean. So let's go back to Unity. Now we have our base sprite here, and we can switch this to Sprite 2D and make this multiple, and then use the sprite editor. Okay, we are in play mode, we don't need that, and I'm going to make this slice as grid by cell count, and we just have 4 columns, 1 row. Okay, the center now is going to be the pivot, the bottom of a grid. So we're going to slice it. Now, hit apply. The hard part for this is to actually find, well, let's fix the settings first. So filter mode is going to be point. We don't really need any compression for this because it's really low. So the hard part is to actually find the proper pixel per unit. On our prefabs, on our node prefab, let's open it up, and I'm going to open the quad, and I'm simply going to remove the mesh renderer and the mesh filter, and I'm going to add a sprite renderer. Okay, then on my art I can drop the first base, and let's go back, save that, and let's hit play and see how bad it's going to look. Okay, as you can see, it's kinda horrible. It's not even the correct perspective. There's also the case that the node prefab is not actually looking inwards, it's not looking towards the camera. So, well, the dirty way to fix this, the really dirty way to fix this actually, is to just find a node, open it up, and let's find this node. Let's actually close all other nodes. And this is the first node, so it's probably going to go. It's down there. Don't know if you can see it. Okay, so let's set the size to maybe 1. And let's move our camera there. Okay, so as you can see, it's kind of distorted because it's not looking at the center of your camera. So setting this to 90, it's looking, let's see where it looks. It looks straightforward in. Well, first of all, I'm pretty sure it's going to have to look at 45 degrees, and I think that's it. Like we're 45 degrees in because our camera is also 45 degrees. Okay, let's try maybe setting this to 25 as well. Yeah, and 25 also, and you get the same rotation with your camera. Okay, 25 and 45. So let's go on to our node prefab and change the quad to be 25 and 45. That's the dirty way to do this. Let's set scale to 1:1. Okay, obviously we can do this via script, but you know, if we can do this just from the inspector, then it's okay. The other thing that we have to change is, of course, let's fix the scale is at 1. Let's try pixels per unit to be 50. Okay, pixels per unit is basically how many pixels by 1 point inside Unity we have. Let's set this to 1. So that should be 1 pixel per 1 unit. Okay, obviously that's way too much. So we're going to let's try 25. And actually, you know what? I think we know how many we need. It's from here to here, how many pixels we have. It's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17. Let's try 17. Okay, we're getting close. It's still, I think it's still not 17. Maybe we can try 15. Okay, getting there. So maybe I think we are about a pixel off. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, I think we are. Well, as you can see, it's kind of horrible to have the black lines, but for now it should work. Either 12 or 13. Obviously, we could do this via script, telling you that again. Okay, and yeah, let's go with this. It's a little bit screwed, but what about standard pixels per unit? It's not the same, because you have to basically add the distance from this to this where it lands on that, so don't think it like that. So let's make the lines to have some slight of a different color to this, and it's also, as you, damn it, come on, yeah, just go delete it. Yeah, okay, it's kind of messy, but if we make this a new layer, if we duplicate this layer and delete this and this, and then we have our base floor here, let's make this some slightly darker color. Where we get that, we can make this line a little bit lighter, darker. The new lessons, probably tomorrow. I had some work today and I couldn't record. Okay, so let's say it like this. I'm going to make this the same color as our floor, both edges. And actually, you know what, I think we should just make this, no, it's not going to look like floor anyway, and we can make this different color as well, I guess, just to know where the, where one ends and one other begins. It's still not perfect, but whatever. Okay, so let's copy that, let's go here and paste it on top, let's go here and paste it on top, let's go here and paste it on top, and we just have to clean this up now. So this will be like this. Okay, and let's remove the extra ones, and we can remove this line and add a new one. Okay, then onto this, we can remove that, this, and this. Okay, so I think that's okay, that should do it. So let's export the sprite sheet, export it, and it should overwrite the old one. Okay, now there are a few trouble. Yeah, okay. We do have a few things off. Yeah, okay. Maybe we need a little bit of a better system for this. So I'm just going to leave it like that, or let's set this to 12. Okay, and screw this. And we're going to make this a little bit later. Anyway, so let's go. Let's raise the scale and let's see how we are by distance, and let's start typing. Okay, now we're not going to be creating this. This will be inside your base, so we're not going to be having the objects anymore. So let's go onto our grid manager, and we're going to say where we instantiate this. Okay, we don't want this anymore, so minimize that, and let's create a new script which is going to be our build manager. At first we're just going to create, it's going to be created instantly. Okay, then we're going to add builders and stuff like that, and later we're going to expand from that. So let's call this build manager, and let's open it up. And well, we are going to need a few things from the mouse operation, or we can just, I guess, take the build manager, make it to not be mono behavior, and just have an instance of the mouse inside the mouse operations. It doesn't need to be public. We can say build manager, build manager. Okay, or yeah, you know what? Why should we? No. Let's just make it a mono behavior. We'll fix it. We'll see if we need changes later. And this can actually just be a singleton, to be honest, just for quick access. So awake, either a singleton or I guess a static class will work as well. Okay, so let's make this a static class. And we don't want mono behavior. Okay, so then we're going to say public static void build base at node, or build at node, the target node. And here's the thing, now we need a place to actually store what we can build. Okay, so we need a place to store data. For example, we're going to have the base with walls on both sides, left and right. Then we're going to need a few other things as well. So okay, let's see, let's create a new folder. Let's rename this, and let's call this, yeah, okay, I wanna make this as, we could call it materials, I guess. No, let's go into managers and let's just create a resources manager. Let's open it up. Okay, then let's say add namespace. You know, as always, I'm actually making this as a scriptable object. Okay, let's go with what we usually do, and we'll fix it later. So on the script, on okay, on the resources manager, let's create a class for base build or base type or whatever. Okay, and we're going to have a few sprites. First of all, we need directions. Do we need, yeah, okay, no directions. We kind of need to know if we have wall on the left, if we have walls on the right, and we kind of want all of that. And you know what, screw this. I'm just going to make this as simple as possible right now and later fix it. You know me, we always do refactors. So, walls everywhere. Walls north. North will be that way. Actually, no. Let's call this east and let's call this west. Wall west. Okay, so I'm just going to include, well, this is terrible. Well, this is terrible because we just have a scribble objects just to load these two. Just to load this, but okay. I'm sure you understand that we're going to add this later. Now, for us to be able to add this, to add the sprites, we need to make this a serializable class. Okay. Then I'm going to go on to my build manager. I'm going to have a static resources. Yeah, okay. I don't really like that. Don't really like that it's static. So because we're going to end up with a lot of static methods. So you know what? Who cares? Let's make this mono behavior. Let's make this singleton. Build manager. And of course, because I have the build manager here, why not just take this and add this onto the build manager, and then take all of that, cut this, and let's add it down here. Okay, same thing. So when we are saying build at node, we also need to pass the grid manager. So now on our node we actually need to have the world objects. Okay, which means onto our node itself we need a new script which is going to be called, actually, do we need it? Yeah, okay, let's add it, but we're going to do this progressively. So we're going to have this node instance. It's going to be a mono behavior script, and it's going to also just include start. Okay, or yeah, actually let's not include start, let's only include a method public void init, and we need a reference to the sprite renderer. Okay, sprite renderer, and on init you're simply going to be either adding it or just do get component, I guess. Or no. Okay. So no distance then. So on the build manager, first of all, we know our node. So inside our node, we're going to have a reference to the node distance. Let's collapse all of that. Public node instance. Node distance. Let's make a get set for this. Okay, so inside the getter we can say if no distance is null, then yeah, okay, now the problem is that because we do not have the node distance, we actually need to have a reference to the prefab, which means accessing the grid manager and so on and so on. So no, let's keep it simple. So if n dot node distance equals null and dot node distance equals, well, first of all, game object instantiate grid manager. Do we have the prefab? It's not public, I guess. Yeah, we load it from here, so let's make this public. Okay, so game object node prefab, then go get component, or actually let's say, are we back again?